In this video, I will share with you the amazing stories of two legendary Soviet freestyle wrestlers who discovered the path of Japanese Bushido. Their careers, filled with brilliant victories and difficult challenges, led them to the world stage, where they became true stars. These outstanding athletes etched their names in history by competing in Bushido fights and left a lasting legacy in the world of martial arts. Join me as we dive into their incredible journeys. It may be little known that the Soviet freestyle wrestler, six-time champion of the Russian Soviet Republic, as well as a once popular wrestler in Japan, Viktor Zangief, who was famous for his unorthodox and spectacular techniques, became the prototype of the character named Red Cyclone from the Japanese game Street Fighter. The character of the super fighter Bushido is immortalized in the popular media around the world. But compatriots do not know Viktor Zangief very well. The native of Khabarovsk, Viktor Zangief, was born on May 26, 1962, in the family of coach of the Soviet Union, Zantimir Zangief. In many respects, thanks to his father, following his advice and suggestions, Viktor has chosen a career as a freestyle wrestler, and under the guidance of another honored coach of the Soviet Union, Aslanbek Dagoev, his natural talent and desire for victory rather quickly led the young man both to significant results and to the title of Master of Sports International Class of the Soviet Union in freestyle wrestling. Thanks to his father and an experienced mentor, in 1981, Viktor Zangief managed to win his first significant victory, winning the World Junior Championship in Vancouver. After becoming world champion, Viktor Zangief continued to train hard and already the next year became the owner of the European Youth Championship belt. And from 1980 to 1988, he became overall 6 times champion of the Russian Soviet Republic in freestyle wrestling. Planning to finish his professional wrestling career at the end of the 80s and planning to become a freestyle wrestling coach, Zangief got a sudden offer. And Viktor decided not to put away yet his wrestling shoes on the top shelf of the cupboard and went to conquer Japan in a new sport, wrestling. When asked how did Zangief got to Japan, the athlete once answered, "Everything happened spontaneously. We were invited to Japan. There was tremendous interest in the closed Soviet Union, and accordingly in Soviet wrestlers. For the first time, we were presented to the public in the hall for almost 65,000 people. The Japanese were mostly interested in guys who were going to finish their careers in big sports, but were still in good shape. 30 people from all over the country were chosen. I ended up in the top 3. I liked the terms of the contract, about $5 million for 2 or 3 years in a sport like Bushido. Performing in pro wrestling tournaments in Japan, he quickly became a crowd favorite and one of the most memorable wrestlers. His first fight was a spectacular one, but he was unable to defeat Eiji Anjo.
Ну что, Виктор уйдет, пока уходит от этого захвата. Сейчас главное не пустить контратаку. Похоже, пускает, похоже, да.
In spite of the defeat in the very beginning, the master of international class and pupil of the Soviet School of Martial Arts managed to make a lasting impression on the Japanese audience. Everybody was enthusiastically watching his moves, the existence of which they had not even guessed. Many were amazed by his incredible flexibility, lightning-fast reaction, and technique, allowing him to take a favorable position in the parterre. He easily evaded grapples, and when the body was in the lock and the rival was ready to make a painful hold, the Russian wrestler was on the bridge. Beginning to move his legs and make turns, he became like a spider that caught its prey. Having twisted his opponent, he quickly rose to his feet, to the applause of the audience. Zangief demonstrated a high level of skill, and the audience wanted to see him in action against Albright or Takada. But it is not so easy to achieve success in Bushido, because one must master several techniques, including striking. Viktor Zangief's fights have always been interesting for fans of the sport. Despite the fact that he always was among the mediocre fighters, even the best athletes were thoroughly preparing for the fight with him. Each appearance on the ring was spectacular, and the intrigue was kept until the last moment. After that, in 1991, the wildly popular video game Street Fighter II was released, in which Victor became the prototype of the character Zangief, also known as Red Cyclone. The first fighting game character in the history of the fighting game genre, whose fighting technique was built around throws and grapples. Bushido brought popularity. Somehow on the wave of fame, I got an offer from Capcom to be one of the characters in their new game. Everyone in Street Fighter has real-life prototypes. Capcom representatives monitored who was more popular with these characters and released the game. I signed the contract, not really going into the nuances, said the athlete. In addition, the character of Zangief appears in the cartoon Ralph, released in 2012, and in the second part of Ralph Against the Internet, as well as in the movie Street Fighter with Van Damme. Despite the fame of the game's hero, Victor Zangief himself says that he is not the least bit jealous of his virtual character's fame. After leaving the arena, Victor Zangief decided to be engaged in the younger generation and to pass his great experience to future champions. Now the athlete lives in Moscow and trains young freestyle wrestlers. Salman Hashimikov was a renowned Chechen wrestler, multiple Soviet, European, and world champion in heavyweight freestyle wrestling and winner of the World Cup. For 10 years, he was captain of the Soviet Union freestyle wrestling team. At one time, was the first and indisputable candidate for the Olympic team of the country. Unfortunately, Salman Hashimikov could not participate in the Olympics in 1976 and 1980 because of injuries. He was also unlucky in 1984. Soviet athletes missed the Olympics due to political reasons. But most of all, for many, Hashimikov is remembered for his performances in Bushido wrestling in Japan. He became the first wrestler from the Soviet Union to win the title during the Cold War in capitalist countries. The legendary Soviet wrestler Ivan Yarygin said the following about Hashimikov. Stout and stocky with a short stature for a heavyweight, 180 centimeters and 120 kilograms. Hashimikov amazes everyone with his unusual physical activity and sharpness of a boxer. He pulls up 27 times. In all his years of personal meetings with foreign competitors, he lost only one fight at the European Championship in 1980. As a four-time world champion, two-time European champion, and winner of the World Cup, Hashimikov occasionally sadly calls himself unlucky. After all, he had a chance to fight at 2 Olympics, although he didn't compete at any of them because his leg was broken the day before the Olympics. But let's move on to the part of his life that made him world famous, namely his professional wrestling career. After the completion of his wrestling career, Salman had a hard time as a sports pensioner. The economic issue became acute. Therefore, Hashimikov accepted Antonio Inoki's offers to perform in catch shows and temporarily moved to Japan, and soon achieved his first success. So, in May 1989, he became the IWGP Heavyweight Champion after his fight against Big Van Vader. After winning this title, Salman is called to fight Nobuhiko Takada. Hashimikov becomes the only UWFI novice to have his first fight become a title fight. The bout was virtually even. As much as Takada was stronger in punching technique, Salman was stronger in wrestling technique. But the age of 40 and his inexperience in the UWFI style did not allow the Soviet wrestler to win the title. The next important events were a series of 2 doubles matches against the best American pair, Albright Severn, and a performance at the Best of the World tournament. In the first round, Hashimikov lost a bout to his old acquaintance Vader and dropped out of the subsequent fight. The biggest appearance of Hashimikov in the wrestling arena happened during the WCW promotion at the Starrcade 1990 Wrestling Festival. That night, the International Team Tournament was held, where Salman, together with his teammate Victor Zangief, reached the semifinals.
それぞれのですね、何かこう研究の成果が現れてますよね。よくね、見てますね。はい。さあ、こうして一気に持っていきます。
Where the tandem lost to the pair from Japan, Saito and Muda. Generally, Salman Hashimikov had spent 5 years in the Japanese rings and became the wrestling world champion in 1993. In conclusion, I would like to mention the superior wrestling skills and physical strength that Salman Hashimikov showed in his fights and allowed him to take his place among the Bushido stars.